Truthfully, I just haven't been buying a lot of new Playline products from Mattel lately. Really, just because nothing's been grabbing me. Like, all of my fashion doll purchases lately have been just collector dolls from Mattel Creations that still haven't arrived yet, or things that I find in the thrift store. And because I never really intended for this to be an unboxing channel, I decided to take a step back into the whole reason why I got into the fashion doll hobby in the first place. And that is the customization aspect of this hobby. Now, what sparked this is I actually was watching somebody customize a Sonic the Hedgehog figure here on YouTube, and they were using this mini rotary tool, just like this one. And I was watching them use this to cut away at the figure's body, to sand it off, to drill holes in it. And I was like, they make it look so easy. And I bet that I could use something like this as sort of like a gateway into body modification for fashion dolls. Because restyling is one thing, rerouting is one thing, repainting is one thing, swapping out the hands, that's basic stuff. But like cutting the doll body apart and like giving articulation to a doll that didn't already have it, like that is another level. And that's not something that I've really ever dabbled in that seriously. So I decided to buy my own rotary tool off of Amazon for, I think this was $20 to $30. It wasn't really that expensive, and it came with so many different bits. It came with so many different like cutting wheels and sanding wheels that you can attach to this, and you can also buy the bits like at Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart that will fit into this thing. And I have just absolutely been having so much fun with this. And with this, I've really been able to make a lot of my dreams come true in my collection. That being mostly giving articulation to bodies that I really don't think Mattel is ever going to bother making an articulated version of. Or if they do, it's probably going to be in like 20 years before we actually get an articulated version of these bodies. For example, the first one that I worked on was this guy, and I know a lot of people didn't like this Barbie fashionista. I loved him though. Like, his original outfit was atrocious, but I loved his lavender hair. I thought his new face sculpt was so cute, and I saw a lot of potential in him. And for the longest time, I had him on the BMR 1959 body with the Harley face sculpt. But I just didn't like him on the original size body. To me, this guy, like the pastel hair, was definitely giving like femboy, like twink energy. And even he was on the original, on the slim Ken body, which I know a lot of people don't like the slim Ken body because the neck looks thicker than it should be on a body type this slender. But some people are actually built like this in real life. And I definitely wanted to keep him on the original slim Ken body, but I don't really think that Mattel is ever going to make an articulated version of this body sculpt. And I couldn't just put him on like the BTS body because, you know, those bodies have smaller necks. So what I decided to do is I actually cut at his elbows and at his knees to give him the articulated arms from the BTS body. And my friend Daldert on Instagram actually provided me with this custom peace sign hand sculpt from the Prestige BTS doll that he ordered just for the clothes. Still, I haven't got around to ordering those dolls as fashion packs, but that will happen one day because I love the clothes on those Prestige dolls. Anyways, I was able to make an articulated version of the slim Ken body thanks to my new rotary tool. And I actually have this bit in there right now because I don't know if I'd say I've got lazy, because I used to, whenever I pierced doll ears, I used to like shove a toothpick into their head, but I've actually been using this drill bit to drill earring holes for them as well. So this thing has become really, really useful. But yeah, so you see, the skin tone is very, very close between the original Slim Ken body and the BTS body. The BTS body is just a pinch more pale, but I love him so much more now that I have him on his original body type. And this body type, I feel like fits his personality a lot more. You see, I've definitely been restyling him. I actually made this little necklace for him out of a bracelet that I bought at Five Below, and also this purple chain necklace. And I've definitely given him a Share Bear theme, like a Care Bear Share Bear theme. And he's just so, so cute. I also ordered this beanie for him off of Amazon, and the restyle isn't complete. I also did shorten the lower legs just because the BTS body for some reason had really short thighs but really long calves, and because I shortened it, that means I needed to re-drill new holes for his feet to go into. I never noticed how big these grippers were on the BTS body, so I haven't found shoes for him yet, and I might end up swapping out these feet for something a little bit more manageable whenever it comes into the shoe department. But I think this guy is so, so cute. I've been showing him a lot on my Instagram stories, and I'm really proud of him, but because he's the first one that I did, there's a little, little nicks in him that, like, if I were to go back and redo it, I'd probably do things differently. Like, for example, I was having a little bit of a hard time getting his arms to stay in the holes that I had made. They kept sliding out, so I actually put some like putty on the inside to hold the arms in. Later on, I'll show you a different custom where I did something else, and I think that works better for this kind of project. And for the pieces that I cut off, it's a little bit jagged on the edges, but also I found a way to walk around that thanks to my friend Doll Dirt. But the second one that I did, I actually have her on the shelf over here behind me. This is Barbie Life in the City Robin, and she uses the Nubian skin tone, the darkest skin tone that Mattel makes dolls in. And I appreciate so much for Bill Greening making us a tall version of that body in Mates Move, but I don't want all of my dolls that have that skin tone to be Amazon women. And I love Robin. I love her face sculpt, but it just wasn't made for the tall body, and with her big hair, it just made her look so disproportionate against the rest of my dolls. So I really wanted to make an articulated version of her original body type, which was petite. I think that fits better with how big her hair is and everything. So what I ended up doing is, just like with that Asian Ken, I had sawed off at her elbows and her knees. And by the way, a lot of times on Mattel dolls, the arms are a solid plastic, but the legs are hollow. And that means with these solid limbs, you do have to drill a new hole to put the whatever kind of joint you're going to put into them. And with her, Doll Dirt actually gave me the idea of using a lighter after you had sanded off as much as you can to kind of make the cut more polished. It just, because I'll put a picture right here. Whenever I first cut her arm, there were like these little white scratches on it whenever I had tried to sand it back down to make it look cleaner. And if you use a lighter, you can kind of melt the plastic around it, and it made it look a lot cleaner at these joints. And for her, I want to try to avoid painting a doll's skin tone if I can, because, whenever you bend the joints on paint, it ends up scraping. So luckily, one of the Creatable World dolls, this one, he has the same skin tone as Robin does. And I was actually able to trade a couple dolls with the junk drawer for a extra of that Creatable World doll to use as parts for this Robin project. So The lower legs and the arms are from that Creatable World doll. You see they match perfectly with her skin tone. And luckily, with her, I didn't have to use any putty or anything. Like, her arms move perfectly. And I just love it so much. I'm so proud of Robin. She looks so awesome. The only thing that I didn't like about the Creatable World body is the hands that they use for them is like a shrunken Ken hand sculpt. And I really don't like that for most of my female dolls. So for Robin, because the normal petite hands are smaller than the regular Barbie hands, I had actually dyed these Generation 2 DC Superhero Girls hands for her that are this really beautiful, delicate sculpt. I believe that they also use this on Monster High. But I love how I was able to match her body almost perfectly. The skin tone on her hands is a little bit cooler than the body is, but you know, I don't feel like you can notice it from far away. And I'm happy that I dyed it instead of painting it. And I tried to bend the joints to where it dyed the joints too. But I'm really, really happy with this new hand sculpt. And for the feet, the Creatable World dolls have basically curvy Barbie feet. And I wanted more shoe options, so instead I went for this regular Made Smooth Barbie feet that don't match perfectly. They're a little bit lighter, but they're going to be covered up by the shoes. I just wanted more, shoe options for her. And her legs can bend and everything. Like, as you see, her legs bend so she can sit down. And for the legs, because like I mentioned, the legs are hollow. I actually had used a technique on her that I later figured out with another doll. Now, some of you pros might think that this is a little trashy, but I mean, I just did what worked. Like, I kind of my froggy stuff to the joints. I just did what was easiest and what worked for me and what was cheapest. I didn't really want to invest in a lot of stuff. Like, lately I've been trying to see, like, what can I make out of what I already have instead of having to invest in other things. So for the final one that I have to show today is this guy who I am so proud of. And that is this articulated broad body that I made just for this guy. I love this Barbie fashionista. I love his face. He's so cute. I actually got this particular head of his whenever I was at my dad's last time, so he's kind of special. It took me a minute to find a good one with a good facial screening, but he was originally on I think he used the original size Ken body. And I could have made an articulated version of that and not had to spray paint it, but I decided that I wanted to make a articulated broad body as well, just like I did for the Slim Ken, because like it's very unlikely that Mattel will ever make an articulated version of the broad body. And I don't count the Harry Potter dolls because they still have original size Ken legs and arms. They don't have the bigger arms and legs like the broad body actually has. And it's even less likely that they make one in his skin tone. So I went ahead and did one myself. And I will show you right here in this picture, like what it looked like once it was finished. The body is definitely a lot thicker than the original Ken body, and it's fatter than the buff body Ken body, the superhero body. And y'all know me, I love body diversity. I try to make my collection look as diverse as possible after growing up with so many blonde hair, blue-eyed Barbies. Like, that irritates the shit out of me to have a bunch of dolls that look the same. Like, if there was ever a contest of like wokest doll collection in the world, mine would probably win, because I do everything that I can to have as much like body and skin tone and ethnic diversity in my collection. Anyways, so for this guy, obviously, I did the same thing. I carved out his arms and his legs. Now, for his lower arms, I just used some regular articulated Ken arms, and I had dyed them, actually. I had dyed them as well It was my first time ever dyeing any doll parts, and I wasn't really dyeing them to match, really. I was kind of dyeing them to get them to a closer color so whenever I spray painted it all the same color, the joints would still be dark whenever you bent his arm and everything. So the joints was more so what I was concerned about. And for the lower legs, I had actually used some Hunter Huntsman legs from Ever After High because they are a little shorter and a little fatter, like his calves are thicker than regular Ken legs are. And I just thought it looked better. And bonus, it came with articulated ankles as well. I ended up spray painting his body all the same color, and it's got several coats of Mr. Super Clear on it to make sure it's as flat as possible. The spray paint that I use for him is called Coffee Bean by Krylon. It's an acrylic spray paint, so you can use Mr. Super Clear on it, no problem. If you're ever going to spray paint a doll body, just don't use oil-based paint, is all I will say. And that color is not perfect. It's not exact. It's a little bit cooler than his head is, but it's close. It's a close color, and that's all I wanted. It's something that was articulated and that was a close color to his head. And I love him on the broad body. It definitely changes his personality, and I knew going in that the broad body would be a little bit difficult to find clothes for. But I feel like I really achieved something cool looking with this outfit. So the pieces are from all over the place, just like with the rest of my collection. His undershirt is from Barbie Looks John. The shorts are from a Disney I Love You doll. It's, I think the Seven from Frozen doll is the one I got it from. The jacket, like the sleeveless jacket, is actually from AliExpress, and it was a little bit expensive. It was $19, but it looks so good on the broad body. And the hat is from eBay. It was shipping from China, so probably the same place as the jacket. The shoes, I knew were going to be a challenge, and these might not be the shoes that I have on him forever, but these are actually the Barbie Extra Ken shoes that I had dyed and also painted some details on to match the outfit. And I pierced his ears. Like I said, I drilled into his ears and gave him these silver 90s Barbie ears. And also his necklace is from the Knuff hoodie Ken. I took this charm and gave it an actual chain that I got from Walmart. I love him so much, and I'm so proud of this custom. And I love how articulated he is now, though I am still a little bit careful with him because, you know, his body is spray painted. But at least if it does chip, you know, it'll have a dark color underneath and not like a lighter color that will be exposed. And I tried to future-proof it as much as possible. And also, like I mentioned earlier, with Robin, I also did this with his joints because apparently some of the broad Ken bodies have hollow arms. I did not know this going in. I thought his arms were going to be solid. But some of them, like the body I used, had hollow arms. So I had to do the same thing for his arms and his legs. So what I did to get the joints to stick in there is I basically shoved some masking tape, like a ball of masking tape on the inside to stop the hot glue, because I put hot glue in there, from running like all the way down his arm. So I put hot glue in there after the masking tape, and then I shoved the arm in there and held it until it dried. And then once it was dry, I like wiggled the arm and forced it to move. So that keeps the arm in there and allows it to swivel. Though I won't be able to get back out. I mean, that's fine. It's a permanent thing. So it really solved all my issues with, you know, something that I already had. And like I said, I was then able to use that I had learned already to go back and do that to Robin's leg. And it's so awesome that I was able to customize this guy all on my own and that I wasn't inspired by anybody else's doll junk. For real though, watching Doll Junk and Doll Dirt and Andrea on Instagram for so long, they were all three a huge inspiration for this, and I'm so happy for their presence on the internet. And just being able to watch people, you can learn a lot. You might not do things the same way, but it's cool when artists can play off of each other, is I guess what I'm just trying to say. Now, I think for my next project, I will be trying to make an articulated version of the petite, curvy body. This is the body type that Mattel has used on both Down syndrome Barbies, and I really, really like it. Like, I love how unique the shape is. So I would just need to find some arms and some legs that match the skin tone. But this Barbie body is so cute to me, and it just looks so tiny compared to other dolls in the Barbie universe. And I just love that. I love having so much Barbie body diversity in my collection. I think I'm probably going to be doing more collection update and customization videos like this in the future, depending on how well this video does, like whether people want to see it or not. Just because the artistic side of the doll collecting hobby is so important to me, and part of fashion doll collecting is personalizing and customizing them. So I love being able to do this now, and I'll definitely update you all on any future projects. And if you have any questions about any of the extra tools that I used, or any tips that you would like to share if you've done similar projects to this, please leave them in the comment section down below. But as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content to help me out in the algorithm, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you so, so much. Bye.